right. Where we go.
Okay.
Whoa.
All right. There we go. You look fabulous, Kim. Did you just come from work?
Whoa. I just blew up.
Well, welcome everybody to the continuing first day of the Pulpwood Queen Zoomathon Slumber Party. And we're here with a wonderful author who is part of a group. It's the Best Friends Book Club and they are also our Pulpwood Queens of New Jersey. We are all across the United States, everybody. And for those who don't know, I'm Kathy L. Murphy, the Pulpwood Queen, reporting in from my little cabin in the woods called Murphy's Law. I was beginning to think this morning that maybe Murphy's Law had kicked in because we got everybody go, how do I get on? So here's another person. We've got two people in the waiting room. So there we go. So we're going to wait. I'm going to just do a little bit of housekeeping before I let you. There's Fran. She just got in. Before we start, Main Street Reads is, I'm going to be sharing a link with you on our author page, our attendee page, and everything tonight, is the place to go to buy all the authors that are being featured book. They are going, we've sent signed book plates. So not only will you get a 10% discount, your books will be autographed by those that send in the autographs, and they'll be shipped right to your home, all social distancing safe. So we're really excited about Main Street Reads. Then our auction started today at the Pat Conroy Center. I've already shared it once, but I'm going to share the link again tonight so that you can start bidding. What we have now is, I think, over 40 items that have been sent by all of our authors to the Pat Conroy Center, which is a non-for-profit in our group, whole body group, charity of choice. And this fundraiser helps fund all of their literary programs, whether it's mentoring to youth, having writing projects, bringing in authors. In fact, 2 years ago, we raised enough money to fund the entire Pat Conroy Low Country Festival.
Wow.
So we are doing outstanding work. For those of you who are new on board, I'm seeing some new faces. I just wanted to tell you that all my Pulpwood Queen chapters take on a literacy cause. And so we've done everything from starting chapters in prisons, a women's prison in Anchorage, Alaska, which led to our paroled Pulpwood Queens of Anchorage, Alaska. I'm not kidding you. Reading changes lives. So we're really excited about that. I have a chapter in Golden, Colorado that raised enough funds to purchase and get all these books from these library sales to take to 3 reservations in the Dakotas, the Native American Indian reservations. And then I have a chapter in Jackson, Mississippi, who provides textbooks and school supplies for a school in Guatemala. We're changing the world one book club at a time. So if your book club or you do not have a chapter and want to start a literary endeavor, please do. And please let me know about it, because I have awards every year for those who champion causes, and those are given on Saturday. So it looks like Fran's on board. Do we have any others coming on board?
We have one other member, but she's stuck at the office.
Okay, well, hi, Fran. She can jump in, but we're going to
go ahead
and get started because we have lots to share with everybody about this book club. First of all, I heard about Kim because she emailed me and she told me that she wrote a book about a book club and they just got featured on CNN. I go, what? How did you do that? And we started this conversation. He goes, let's start a chapter. And then they came in the first year. And then last year we brought them in to be on as our featured authors. And this year, because they have the second book coming out this year, we've invited them on again to talk about both their books. So I'm really excited that everybody's sticking with us. It's a marathon Zoomathon girlfriend weekend. And I just want you to know that Echo Garrett, Douglas Thompson, and Mandy Haynes and I have been working for 48 hours on this program. And now we're on it for the 4 days day and night. So if you see toothpicks, eyes, if you see me guzzling coffee and not drink, the wine will come later. Guzzling coffee, I am doing everything. And if I get real sleepy, I'm eating my double mint gum because you know, everybody, that if you chew gum, you can't fall asleep. So, and it's not because this isn't the most exciting panel we've ever had. It's just that I'm sleepy. Thank you all for being here. I think it's going really well. What do you guys think so far?
Very good. It's
For
been
the
very
first
good.
time. For the first time.
Very good.
Thank you, Robert. I see you down there in the corner. Thank you so much because, oh, here comes Wendy. This is outside my comfort zone so much that when I went to college out of high school, I graduated in 1974, I was using a manual typewriter to do my term papers. I went back to college at 59 and I was totally flummoxed because I knew nothing of the technology. And if it hadn't been with the kids that I was in school with, teaching me how to do the internet and PowerPoints and all these things and legal vetting on all of our art history papers, I would have never made it through. So I am an old cat learning new tricks. So tonight, Kim is the leader of this wonderful book club group, and they think very much like the Pulpwood Queens.
Yes.
We want to make reading fun. But if you'll read her first book, novel, Women, and then the new one's coming out, and if you have it to hold up, that'd be great. Mine was sitting right here. Where'd it go? I'll find it. But anyway, if you have not read it, you will be so impressed by the lists of books that they are reading. In fact, so many times I go, we read that, the Pulpwood Queens read that, because we've been going for 21 years.
Wow.
I can't even, when I think about the 600 books that over 600 books that came in this year. Now I have to tell you, I only read about 200 and some of them. I didn't read them all. I saw lots of repetitions and story themes. Most were very well written, but I can't get them all in. But Kim's book is in, and so's her second one. So Kim, how did this all begin? How did you and Fran and all these book club, how long have you been meeting? Give us the backstory on this.
Okay, so I'll start with the backstory. And first I want to apologize because one of our authors is stuck at work. She's the administrator at a law firm, and they're literally standing over her head.
I understand.
They're trying to get a project out, and she apologizes. If she can break away at all, she will come on.
Kim, don't all women deserve to wear the crown? And don't
Yes.
all women need to, when they get together, share their stories and have some wine? We're not the kind of book club that's going to reprimand anybody because they can't get off work. So you just go right ahead.
Well, I figured I'd start by talking about the book club like yours. So I've read my entire life. I had a very difficult childhood, and I escaped into reading. And one of the things, I swear, it was my salvation. It saved me from maybe bad things, but reading had always been my salvation. So in 2004, I started Between Friends Book Club. And I just wanted to talk with other women about what we read, because my husband's not a big reader, and I'm bursting at the seams to talk about some of these books, literally bursting at the seams. So I got a group of friends and neighbors together, and but not everybody reads. So of course I pick half the book club that doesn't read. So what happened? I'm going crazy trying to pick a book. So instead of picking a book, I picked a short story called The Yellow Wallpaper. And it's by Charlotte Perkins Gilman. And it was written in 1892. And it's about the subordination of women in marriage. It is an excellent story. Excellent story. Do you know that our book club was up till 3 a.m. talking about this short story?
I love it.
3 a.m. Kid you not. So do you think I captured those non-readers? You bet I did. So after that, we met all the time. And then in 2008, I started Between Friends Book Club and website. So what I do is I put little blurbs, little reviews of the books we've read, because how do you remember them 20 years later?
Yeah.
And at the end, I say what we talked about, but just generally, because you don't want to give away the storyline. So you give it away generally. So how did we go from a book club to writing a book? So here's where the story, I'm sure my friends will say I dragged them kicking and screaming, but but here's how it happened. Two things just happened within a few months of each other. And one of them was, one of the women in the book club said, I'm going to drop out because I don't read. And I only read one book a year when I'm on vacation. And to me, after this had already been 10 years into book club. And I said, but it's more than reading. It's so much more than reading. It's about community too. It's not just reading. It's about community. Okay. So I said, don't worry about it. It's fine. She goes, but I don't like some of these books. I just want an easy read. I don't want to be preached to. I don't want this and that. And she had a lot of lists, but but it percolated in my mind. I don't know why. And I've never not let people come because they didn't read the book. I know a lot of book clubs that do that. I do not do that, because do you know what happens? You start talking about the topic or the theme, and before you know it, everyone's in on that discussion, whether you read the book or not.
Absolutely.
And by the time the thing is done, it's a win, because now they're going to go back and read the book. And do you know how many members went back and read the book? So
Yes.
It's a win-win. It's all about getting people to read. So I was very happy about that. Then at another book club, one of the women, I think it was Denise, she happened to mention that women our age are very underrepresented in fiction. So this is all percolating in the back of my little brain. And what happened was, I was a journalist for a while, and just for locally, local papers and stuff. And I had to do an article on middle-aged women, and all this information was how invisible middle-aged women feel, how this, how that. Okay.
Yeah.
So now, and it's very pessimistic. And so that starts to percolate with the other things. And then at the next book club I was at, I'm looking across the room and I see these beautiful, optimistic, vibrant, intelligent women. And I'm like, and then all of a sudden, and I know, Kathy, you're going to remember this, way back when there was a woman who was 90 years old, okay, and her name was Iris, and she did a print ad for MAC Cosmetics. And
I love
sold
her.
it out in a week.
With the big glasses.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
I have her book. I have her book.
So that comes into my mind, and I'm thinking, invisible my ass. So at the end of that meeting, I said to all the girls, hey, let's write a book. We're not invisible. Let's write something that relates to us. So in the end, Novel Women is a love letter to our book club. And that's how that came about. So I hope that wasn't too long-winded.
No, I love it.
So that's how all of this came about. Now, are we all writers? No, no. So I was a journalist, so sort of, okay. It's a different writing genre, but
Right.
Denise also has some writing experience, but she can talk about that. And Fran also is in marketing. And Jean, of course, is just brilliant, so. All right, so how did we develop our characters and everything? Well, the overall theme of our book is just love and happiness, and it's women in middle age, and it is a trying time. There's no book out there what to expect when you're empty nesting.
There's your next book. I would read that.
No book.
I used to be a book nerd when those other ones came out, so that's the one we need. Absolutely.
So there's nothing out there for us. So we decided, to write it. So I'm going to turn it over now to Denise, and we're going to go into our characters and kind of how we came up with them and who we are. So hit it, Denise.
Okay. Hi, everyone. Thanks so much for letting us come and talk with you. This is so exciting. We've been excited ever since we heard about it. I actually, like Kim, have some writing background, but I do not have novel writing background. Um, my undergraduate was in journalism. I've spent my entire career in some sort of corporate communications, and I am now the director of communications and marketing for a private Catholic liberal arts college in New University in New Jersey. And the interesting part is, if you read our book, you will get that as we talk. It has some interesting parts in it, and I started that job 2 weeks before we launched the book. So I was just like, the Sisters of Charity of St. Elizabeth are our sponsors. And what do we do? What do I do about this? So yeah, Kim kind of, everybody has their own version, but Kim kind of dragged us in. She can be extremely persuasive. She's, she is the leader of this. This has been her dream for a very long time. And my character, and we each developed our own characters. We did it independently. We did not share in the very beginning. We all write with a very different voice. We all had different ideas. And where the real work came in is afterwards, when we had to merge it in to sound like one voice. So I was in the process of going through a divorce after 34 years of marriage. When we started this, the divorce hadn't actually finalized or coalesced yet. But so it was a really difficult time in my particular life. But Kim cajoled and encouraged and berated. No, she was very sweet, very sweet. None of us could let Kim down. So they say, you write what you know, and not being a novelist, I think all of us, including myself, I wrote basically my character's name, Tess. Why I came up with that name, I don't know. It just popped into my head. And so my character, Tess, is very similar to me, is very, very much like me. I am originally from the Midwestern part of the country. I am from the St. Louis area, and I've been transplanted to the East Coast. When I met Kim, the very first book club meeting that I ever went to, our two daughters went to competitive cheerleading, and she invited me to book club because I was kind of new to the area and I really didn't know much. And I went to her house wearing blue jeans and a sweater and all that kind of stuff. I will never forget this day. And I ring the doorbell and the door swings open, and there's Kim in winter white, dripping with her costume jewelry. And I just looked at her and I just said,
Oh, no.
I think I'm underdressed. And Kim just looked at me and she says, oh no, I'm just over the top.
So we are so alike, Kim. Okay.
I know we are.
We are so alike. Okay.
So my character, Tess, is from the Midwest, and we all had to kind of find our own voice. And she is kind of lost. She has lost her husband suddenly. I originally wrote down that I was going to write about my divorce, but we decided we didn't want too many divorced women in the book, and so I just killed him off. No, I didn't. So in the book, I am a widow, and I am processing through the grief, which is very similar to what I was processing through at that moment in time, because I was processing the death of a marriage. And so there's fun parts in it. Tess is has a lot more fun than what I do. She meets someone, and it's about love. It's about love. It's about loss. It's about friendship. It's about finding your way. Because as middle-aged women, that's kind of a problem. But it's also about, middle-aged women. We actually got it going on, and it's sort of like Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants meets 50 Shades of Grayer Hair. That sets it up for the rest of my
hair color for.
Pardon?
That's what you have your hair colorist for.
Yeah, exactly. So that's kind of where it was. It was a cathartic process. It was not an easy process. There were bumps along the road. It took us about 7 years.
Yeah.
And the amazing part is that we all remained friends, and we still are. So that's kind of amazing. But I don't want to take up the rest of the time. Who's going next? Somebody.
Okay, Ava, Fran.
Franny?
Franny. Fran.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now. I don't
Oh.
see you, but I can hear you.
I should be monitoring these
There
notes.
you are.
Oh, there's two chats. Hold on. This is different than yesterday's chat. Hi, I'm Fran Furtado, and I've been friends with Kim since Girl Scout camp. We met when our girls neither wanted to go, and we dragged them in second grade, and they're both very different opposites. But long story short, after that long rainy camping weekend, our girls were no longer friends, and we remained friends.
That happens. That happens.
Yep. We tried over the years, but no go. So Kim and I talked many hours before we actually even started book club, and I'm one of the first members of book club, and that was a whole lot of fun. And she wrangled us into this. I kicking and screaming, but no, no, none of it. She's exactly what you see. She's a ball of energy. We have really good rapport. And then we started as couples, going out as couples. Our husbands became friends. We did some ski vacations together with the kids. Still no
friends with the kids.
We promised no more vacations with the kids. And continued on our road of friendship. Long story short, I grew up in the Bronx through some college, and eventually moved out after 20 years with AT&T. I was in technical sales, and retired. I met my husband 25 years later. We're in the middle. We get divorced very suddenly. But in the middle of my getting split up, I was still writing this book and the story, which is really difficult because Kim insisted we have a love scene in our story. And we're having some difficulties, and I could not write it. He's offering to write it for me. I'm like, you will not write this. Get out of here. This is my story.
Wow.
Before we even finished the book, we split. And then I had to end the story. And that was really difficult. And how because you write what you know. I have no experience in writing. I'm in marketing, but we do little advertising, 60-second commercials and print advertising, and in my current position. And so for the last 10 years, so I had no idea how to write a novel, let alone a story. So we decide we're going to give him an affliction.
Sorry, guys. That's just wrong. Okay.
We're going to give him an affliction, write him out, write him away. And so we did, but it wasn't the end of the story. There was more to come, and it continues in book 2. And it was a whole lot of fun. And it was, as Denise said, there was some soul searching. There was some interesting discoveries things I've learned about myself and patterns. And I'm not a writer, but thank you, Kim, for taking me on this ride. Thank you, Jean and Denise, for coming along. It's been a blast. Thank you, Kathy, for hosting us.
Yes, thank you, Kathy.
You've got to tell everybody what you said when we did the meeting about your, how would you describe yourself of the writing group? Do you remember what you said?
The hot Latina?
Yeah, there you go, the hot Tina.
Yeah, you see the silk, the satin. My boyfriend saw me downstairs and he's like, "Where are you going?" He's like, "I put on my makeup." He said, "I've got a book club meeting." He goes like that. And I'm going to give an instruction on something. He goes, "I'm coming."
Well,
So
we don't have all the book club members on board yet, but we do have, do we have, oh, there's Jean.
Yeah,
Okay,
Jean's next.
Okay,
She
Jean,
does Hannah.
why don't you share your story?
Okay, can you hear me okay? My voice is a little wobbly.
Froggy, okay, we can hear you.
Um, my name is Jean Ann, and I wrote the character Hannah. A little about myself. I was born in the Midwest, like Denise. Moved in 4th grade to New Jersey. So then went to college in Vermont, but have been in New Jersey this whole time. Met in 4th grade. We did not date until after college, but we've been together 32 years. Three young adults, I guess you have to call them kids. And that's about it. I am not a professional writer at all. I would say I do remember being little and writing rough drafts for my thank you notes and really writing these intense thank you notes, and also writing like when you need to write a customer service letter. I got good response to my customer service letters. In college, I had to write for my senior thesis, 130-page thesis. Which back then, I'm dating myself, I had to pay a woman $1 a page to do the word processing of it because, there weren't computers then. And then I do remember always really valuing the power of the written word. Like, for instance, I remember in 3rd grade reading The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. Do you guys remember that?
I love CS.
I remember when the lion died, I went out of my room looking for someone to say, "I have to discuss this with someone. This is so sad." And then luckily, it turns out better later on. But I do remember, I never said, "Oh, I want to write a book," but I remember saying, "Oh, the word is so powerful, to manipulate emotions and everything." And my character is Hannah. And I do kind of, in thinking about this, I've kind of come to the realization that when we formulate our characters, there's at least a little teeny tiny piece of ourselves in there. Like for me, she's from the Midwest, I'm from the Midwest. My husband travels a lot, hers does. And that's where the parallels kind of stop. But I did take that piece of when our kids, they're about 4 years between the 3 of them. So it was really, really crazy for a time there. And I just kind of harkened back to that crazy, hectic, wild time and kind of put that on steroids in Hannah's character, because she has the youngest children of the group of the characters.
Well, one of the things I wanted to say is, first of all, you all said, I never thought about being a writer, but were we ever given that as a role model or opportunity in school?
No.
I never thought anybody could become a writer unless you lived in New York. And then I discovered Laura Ingalls Wilder. And wait a minute, she didn't come from New York. I think a lot of it is because of, you guys are a lot younger than me, but I think a lot of it is
the same age.
Oh, well, you look good.
Same age, yeah.
Well, I'm 1 year away from that Medicare. But anyway, I think we weren't given the opportunity, first of all, is why a lot of us don't even think about it. Because, when I graduated from high school, I was told you can either get married. Are you getting married? This is what the high school counselor said to me. I said, absolutely not, because I had that same kind of growing up years. I'm going to become a flight attendant and see the world. And he goes, so you want to go into the military? And I said, no, I do not want to go into the military. I'm a peacemaking type of person. And he said, well, that's the only way. And I knew he was wrong. I was only 17, but I knew because we had a friend of the family that was a flight attendant. But I was forced into college to become a teacher because that's your other option. If you're
Yeah.
not going to become a wife and mother, then you become a teacher or a nurse. Those are the two respectable. It's just like I'm watching all these Indian films, and all Indian children from birth are told they're going to be a doctor, a lawyer, an accountant, or an engineer. It's just that culture, the mindset, the times we grew up in. Okay, so I'm sure. And then the other thing I wanted to say is people go, I can't draw, I could never be an artist. And I'm going to tell you that that is another thing we've been taught, that just because we can't draw something immediately, but how many of you got on a bike and were able to just pedal down the street the first thing? Very few of us. It took times of tipping over until finally we figure it out. You have to practice to get better at anything. It doesn't matter whether it's riding a bike, writing, or whatever you do in life. But what is, you guys are telling all these funny stories about how you all came together, but I want to talk about the seriousness of your book. What happens, and guys, this is really important that you all hear too, because I'm going to talk about men's book clubs next. But women, when they get together, we thrive on the community of sharing our stories.
Yes.
For years, my mother had bridge club and coffee and meeting over the fence as you hung the clothes on the line. You had the music club and all these different clubs. We don't have that. So being in a book club today is kind of a legitimate way that we can get together with our friends. We can tell our stories, tell the author stories, and have a little fun. Because we don't get any timeouts. I mean, I'm of the generation where you were supposed to be a wife and mother and hold multiple jobs and juggle everything. And, just like, it's impossible. We can't do it. Now, I have one friend, my co-host, Jamie Ford, who was my co-host for years. He wrote Hotel in the Corner of Bittersweet. He is in a book club in Montana. Cool. And they meet in a bar and they drink and I don't know, maybe they smoke cigars, but they see book club as a little bit different. It's kind of like a competition. So they all get together and it's like they try to outdo each other with the best discussion. So I thought, well, that's just a one onesie there, Right. Then when I was on the Mighty Blaze, the tech guy, he said, I'm in an all guys book club. This was after I was on the show, and I go, tell me about it. He goes, we all meet in the basement of a bookstore owner's business, and we drink and we all discuss the book, and it's really more of a competition. Wow. I go, tell me about that. And that's why when I pick books, I try to pick books from a man's perspective by men writers and books from women's perspective by men. We're not read all women's. And so it's important to me, especially to the guys that are here tonight, that I see Robert and Richard and Roy and Scott, that we just think of it as differently. Yes. So I'm thinking that maybe next year at 2022 Girlfriend Weekend, we could get your book club to meet the guys' book club and have that conversation. And maybe
that would be good.
They can drink their whiskey and we'll
read the same book.
Yeah, we'll pick a book that we all
pick a book.
But I remember I picked Gates of the Alamo, which is a tome of a book, but all the guys in my book club wanted to read it because it's a saga of the history of Texas in a novel form.
Right.
I'm telling you, I had book club girl members bailing out. It was like 600 and some pages. They were going, And I said, now, wait a minute. If they're going to read novel women, we need to read,
That's right.
Alamo.
That's right.
And I picked Billy Flynn's Long Halftime Walk, which was a wonderful Dallas journalist book on these kids that went to Afghanistan and then were brought back for a furlough, and they were taken to a Dallas Cowboys game and faded by all the Dallas Cowboy. It was a fictitious book, but it was a real eye opener. And I had my women want to throw the book in the trash because they talk. Guys don't talk the way we do in private. There's a lot of curse words in there, and there were a lot. And I said, "Don't you find it fascinating?" I do. I like to walk around in the shoes of all the authors' books I read, whether male,
Sure, of course.
or from whatever perspective. So keep that in mind for 2022.
I love it.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
Now, what I want to do is I want you guys to tell me what is the most surprising thing. You've been writing this for how long?
The first one, 6 years, and this one was only a year and a half.
Okay. So you've been
Actually, the first one was much longer than that because I was still married and I've been divorced 7 years.
All right,
Well-
maybe from when we started talking about it. Yeah, okay.
so maybe like a decade. Okay.
Yeah.
So what are some of the most surprising things that you've learned about yourself and your friends? And I want to hear from each one of you. What is something you've learned? Because I'm going to tell you, I found the best friends in my life through my book club and my authors.
Well, through the writers or through the book club?
Both.
Both. Okay. Go ahead,
The book
Denise.
club's bigger, right?
Yeah,
Bigger than just
there's 11 of us. Yeah.
So through the book club, which has had people come in and out in the 13 years, I think it's been. I'm probably one of the newer ones. Through the book club, I have found some amazing support. As I'd mentioned, I am from the Midwest, which is why my jammies are flannel. And you guys are leopard.
hey, mine's real fuzzy
Yeah.
flannel too.
So for me, it was a tough adjustment. And so meeting the ladies in the book club was just an amazing adjustment, the positive thing. The book, I got to know 4 other people extraordinarily well. And we're all very different. We're very different personalities. We're very different in our likes and our dislikes, but we've all come together for this common project. And there were times when we were probably annoyed at each other. I will say that, Kim, probably. We were probably, like, do we really want to do this? There were times when I know at least I wanted to give up at least once.
By the way, Denise photographed this cover. Is that gorgeous?
And the second cover.
And
I
the
love your hand painted wine glass. They're beautiful.
Yeah.
So the story behind that, and I'll tell you just very, very quickly, the story behind what Fran just held up, that was a photograph that I actually took, and the person in the background is Fran, if you can see it, on the cover. And so that's her in the background. We're seated around Kim's island. No one's calling, someone's calling me. It's a sales call. We're sitting around in her kitchen, around her island, and we're just having these individual conversations, and everybody's talking and we're sharing. And I had my camera with me because I do photography on the side. And I just happened to look up and I saw this glass. I saw Fran in the background intently talking to the person that she was with. And I took that photo with the focus of the glass with Fran in the background. When we came around to Novel Women, there's a lot of talk of wine in the book. And so we decided to use that. And so that is actually a very organic experience from our actual book club. That actually happened. It was not staged.
It was not your original intent even to
No,
this is
no.
a book cover.
I just saw this picture, and I just saw this when I saw the scene. I saw a picture, and I knew that I wanted to do it. I saw it in black and white in the background. I saw that thing. So I actually just shot what was it, right? Was it in October?
Yes,
I shot the second one. I don't know if Kim wants to show that, but so Novel Woman 2. So we just decided to continue the theme with the wine glasses. So that is Kim and Fran's hand in Kim's family room with the bookcase in the back. So I don't know. Anyway, so I don't want to sound, kind of Pollyannish, but it really truly has been the connection.
It's a real connection to book club. It's really book club. It's
The other thing about the connection part of the story is that when you write a book, when you're in a book club, you have that connection. And then you write a book, you have a connection to other readers.
yes,
And then you're not only sharing your story, you're kind of sharing their stories too. Because
yes.
when you, I don't know, every book club I've ever gone to in my life, you start out talking about it and you're serious about it. And the next thing you know, did you hear about Mabel?
I know, absolutely.
And I always am hurt.
Absolutely.
I go, okay, that's great. Mabel's going to get out of the hospital. She's been out with COVID, but she's fine. Let's go back to the story. And then somebody else will, did you hear about David?
Yeah.
And then the next thing you know, you go down that. And so, but through the years, you almost can finish people's sentences because if they're going to like a book or not, or whatever.
We actually do that a lot of times.
Ebb and flow.
So really, really strange connection that I'll share that with Jean and myself is that we didn't know each other until I joined book club. She was in and I joined it. My former husband was born in the exact same hospital, in a Midwestern hospital in central Illinois, as Jean was. Now, he was born 3 years before her, or 3 or 4 years ahead of her, but it was in the hospital in Decatur, Illinois. Who would have ever thought?
Haven't you found that true life is much more unbelievable than, you think it's fiction, when you hear things in true life. I was telling some people some stories and they go, you got to write a book about that. And I go, nobody would ever believe me. And they go, they'll think it's fiction, because that's the way it is. If
Yes.
you write nonfiction, they go, oh, you made that up, right? If you write nonfiction, it's fiction. But if you write a fiction book, oh, that's based upon you, really, isn't it? It's autobiographical. So why is human nature that way? I have no idea. But I know as humans, we are built to share stories.
Yes.
Whether it's, back in the Neanderthal times where they just grunted the stories at each other, whatever they did, or drew the charcoal with the handprints on the wall, whatever, we're sharing stories. And
That's right.
I think it's important. And I think, I know that with my book club, a lot of people go, well, you're the Pulpwood Queens, you're a hairdresser. I mean, when I went on Good Morning America with Diane Sawyer and Charlie Gibson, and I announced our book of the month, they had ironically, a book club from New Jersey on there, the book club, and the head queen said, I don't know. And Charlie goes, what do you think about Kathy's selection, which was The Dive from Clawson's Pier by Ann Packer? She goes, I don't know, a Southern hairdresser. What would she know about reading?
Oh, no.
Listen, Good Morning America's phone and internet blew up because Atlanta started calling me. The whole city of Atlanta started calling me and saying, oh, nobody's going to diss our Southern girl. And I'm from Kansas, y'all. I'm from the Midwest. But the point of the matter is, you don't judge a book by its cover.
Right.
You read the book and then you find out. I mean, you saw me earlier. You saw the post without any makeup. That's how I look at home. I mean, I was usually in a ponytail.
How we all look.
I mean, but I've been in the beauty industry my whole life. I've worked as I worked for Elizabeth Arden and May Company in California. I've been a cosmetologist. I've, done celebrities' hair. I've done all the stuff. And so there's a certain way you need to look when you work in that industry. But I'm a tomboy, I have no problem getting my camper out, hooking it up to my FJ and driving off to some outback place and camping, because I love to camp. But I think that that's what sharing our stories in books do. They let us walk around other people's lives for a while.
That's right.
And if people get to know you, tell the story about how you got on CNN. This is fascinating.
Okay, this is a great story.
It is.
So we published, the book had been published for a few months, and thank God it was the midterm elections and not this election. Probably would not have ended very well. So Denise and I think somebody else got notified from Steve Forrest, I think his name was, from CNN. They wanted a book. Pardon?
Producer on CNN.
Yeah, they wanted a book club to come on and talk about politics at the midterm election. So they found us because of Novel Women.
Yeah, he said that he went in and he Googled New Jersey Book Club women.
And you guys popped up.
And we
And our
popped up
book
because of the
popped up.
book.
The book
So
popped up.
we have,
We have a website as well, but the
Yeah.
book probably put us at the top of that search engine.
right,
So
right.
So how did
So-
that go?
Well, we have, so they wanted 6 people, 3 Republicans and 3 Democrats. Now, let me tell you something. You don't talk about politics at book club.
Never.
No, 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 no. So we did, and we survived. There was a
the
few
first
ruffles.
time on live TV.
Right,
Crazy.
right,
Well,
in
what
my
you have to
living room.
remember- What you
In
have
my
to
living room.
remember in life is that we don't all think the same way. We weren't raised
No.
the same way. We weren't raised the same way, whether we went to church or didn't go to church. We don't have the same life experiences. But the connections you make with you just learn that you respect their beliefs and they respect yours. And that's what I do. When I don't agree with people, I go, well, you're still my friend, you know. That's your belief.
And what did they do? They went way over on the taping. It was actually taped, and it was with Allison Camerata. They actually went way over the time that they had planned. So they ended up doing 2 segments. So they ran one at the beginning of the week before the election, and then they ran one like
No, the next day. It was Thursday and Friday.
Yeah, Thursday, Friday. We actually ended up, it was a very spirited conversation. We are still all friends.
That's an understatement.
Our political views run the spectrum, which again was the reason why we don't talk about them. And a clip of it actually ended up on John Oliver's show. So
Wow.
if you're familiar with last night, this
Did it
week.
change your lives? I want to know that. Did it change your lives?
You know, you would think it would, but it didn't. And they actually plugged our book on CNN. How many people get that? No one gets that. I mean, they plugged our book. I think we had 11 sales. That's it. So I don't know if they liked our politics.
I have people say to me all the time, oh, you're famous. You know, people know who I am in New York. Here, they haven't a clue, but they do know in New York. And, but I have learned, I've been on Oprah and Oprah's Oxygen Network. I've been in all the Newsweek, Time, Wall Street Journal, all those things. Oprah Winfrey Show, it doesn't change your life one iota, but what it does, it gives you credibility.
Right, right.
And, you know, not everybody gets picked to be put on CNN.
No,
you know?
no.
And not everybody
On
gets
2 segments, that's right.
And
We
that's
were
the
very
same thing
lucky.
that happened. Yeah, that's the same thing when I went on with Diane Sawyer. The first time, they were testing out lots of girl type groups. And she chose mine. And then when I announced the book, they got such a response.
Wow.
Both good and bad. They invited me back and back again. 3 times, but the last time never aired because we all got together to watch it. You know how you do. And the Queen Mother died. So Diane Sawyer had to go to England. So I was like, dang.
Bummer.
With that.
Bummer, you know?
Bummer.
The other queen mother, right, Kathy?
The other queen. She had a little bit bigger importance, but it doesn't matter.
No.
It's the story of how that all happened. And I remember we took the Pulpwood Queens to New York with our rolling suitcases to the ABC studios to go meet Diane and all the stuff and meet the producers, and Barbara Walters gets out of her limo and walks right by us, and we all look at each other and we go, did you know Barbara Walters was that tall?
I know, that sounds good.
She just doesn't seem like a tall person, you know?
Right.
I mean, she had on heels, but she's pretty tall. And I was going,
Yeah.
wow. And I mean, we talk about the craziest things, but we all, when I get together with those girls that went with me to New York, we talk about all the crazy things that happen. So
But we
guys are
decided,
building
pardon?
you're building memories.
That's right. And we've had such a wonderful time. We really have.
What about
And we're doing a trilogy out of Novel Women because we're going to do a year in the life of these women. We've seen a lot happen to our group. So maybe jobs lost, fortunes lost, death. And we want to deal with that so the next book, we're flushing out the characters a lot more. The first one was a little lighter. The second one is much deeper. And the third one will just tie it all up. We've already started writing the third book. So, but
Well, we've got 5 minutes left. Can you believe this hour just flew by?
no, I can't.
What would be the best way that people could get in, to get in touch with you about, you know,
I
what-
put the link tree up. So all our, yeah.
I got to work that thing out. I just heard about that.
Yeah, Sunday, somebody said, told us to use it. It's a beautiful thing.
Well,
So I put the link up on the chat.
Check it out. So, girls, I think you're fabulous. I
Oh,
think,
we love you.
well, I love you, and I'm getting up to New Jersey because I never had the best time of my life was driving up to New Jersey to deliver one of my paintings. And I did pop-up art book fashion show all the way up and back. And all my Pulpwood Queens hosted me up and back with Tawana, who, for those that don't know it, she was the executive director, been with me the beginning. And they broke the mold when they made Tawana because, I mean, first of all, her name. Second, she had dragon lady nails. They were
Wow.
like, you know, they curved and they were like, I mean, long.
Wow.
But she could do anything with them. She just, she worked for, you know, Verizon, and she just do those phones. I just go, okay, that's crazy. But she died suddenly, not that long.
Oh, no.
Yeah, of a kidney stone.
Wow, really?
Yeah, it got lodged and she went septic and she had 2 heart attacks and she was so Tawana, you know, helped run all the behind the scenes. It's taken 3 people this year to do what Tawana did. I've got Doug and I've got Echo and I've got Mandy all helping me, but we didn't have to deal with this technology, Doug. I mean, you guys, this technology is tricky. It's like somebody emailed, maybe it was Marilyn Rothstein who's talked me into this. She said, you know, it's a really high learning curve doing a Zoom-a-thon conference. And I go, no lie, we've had no sleep and we're still here. But you guys, we've got to go because we're going to go off this Zoom and immediately go onto our next Zoom link because we're going to have an author meet and greet. And I'm going to let everybody know your faces and meet each one of you. Hi, Kevin. I didn't see you back there with your little hat on. I want the guys to know that we would love to have more men in our book clubs. And you would be very popular if you came to them, because when we have our girlfriend weekend in person, there's not one guy that says, can I come back next year? Because we have a really good time. And all in good fun, all in big book love. So everybody, thank you for joining us. Don't go away because the party's just started. And just to keep you online, the people that participate the most, the one that I'm going to be studying everybody and how into it they are, I'm going to give away on Saturday. I'm going to give away 3 girlfriend weekend packages for 2022. So with my team, we're going to get together and we'll announce that on Saturday at our awards presentation. So you want to be there. You want to be here, and I want to introduce you to everybody on board. So thank you for coming tonight. I'm